everyone, it's Elizabeth at Spiritual Beginnings. Today I wanted to share with you information about Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. And actually what I found is that it's actually more of a method of forgiveness than a prayer. The prayer is a means to utilize this method of clearing your beliefs, both limiting beliefs and any other beliefs that you have, in order to be one with the divine. I recently read 2 books by Joe Vitale. The first one is called Zero Limits, and the second one is called At Zero. And I think if you're interested in Ho'oponopono, that it's a very good idea for you to read those books. They're quick reads and very eye-opening, for me at least, and I think it could really help you a lot. But I'm going to share in this video my takeaways from reading those books and how I've incorporated Ho'oponopono into my own life, and some of the really cool results that I've seen in just beginning to dive into a regular practice with this. So the idea behind this, the first premise, is that we create everything that we see around us. It's a reflection of what's going on inside of us, and then we must take responsibility for that which we see in our environments. So no matter what, whether it's the rain outside or you overhear a conversation with 2 other people that are bothering you, or you're in an argument with someone, no matter what it is, or the beautiful sunshine that you see, the wonderful things that are happening in your life, no matter what it is, it's a reflection of your beliefs and what's going on with you. And that goes hand in hand with everything that I've learned and read and understand about the law of attraction. And so it's not far-fetched to hear this through the book Zero Limits on the Ho'oponopono technique. So once you have the understanding and knowledge that no matter what is going on around you is something that's going on with you, and you take responsibility for that, you can begin to heal it so that you can then be inspired by the divine. And this is really powerful, because if you have the power, if you understand that it's what's inside of you that's creating what's going around, then you can have the power to change it. So why would you use Ho'oponopono? The first reason for me that I want to use it is because I know I have a lot of beliefs that are preventing me from creating a more peaceful life. And in number one, taking responsibility for that which is around me is very important. We all sometimes feed into that victim mentality, and if we are using Ho'oponopono, we can then take responsibility, and it helps me at least pull myself out of that victim mentality. So if I have an argument with my husband, or a really difficult morning with the kids, getting them ready for school, getting them to brush their teeth, that kind of stuff, I can then, if I'm thinking about Ho'oponopono, it automatically shifts my mind out of what is going on within me that's causing all of this stuff to go awry in my world. So that is key for me. The second reason is that it then focuses you by saying the prayer, which I'll explain to you in a few minutes. By saying the phrases, it then pulls me further out and shifts my train of thought into a more positive one. So this is similar to using an affirmation, but what I find with affirmations is sometimes I get lost in them. This is very focused and helps me focus my energy in a really positive way. Okay, so I will then demonstrate how to use it. There are 4 phrases, and you can say them in any order. It doesn't matter. I was getting hung up a little bit on figuring out what order I need to say them, but it really doesn't matter. The 4 phrases in the order that I really found that I like to say them is: I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And when you're saying this, you're actually saying it to the divine. And I feel a little bit like I'm also saying it to myself. And you can repeat those 4 phrases over and over again throughout the day when you remember to perform this practice. And it really helps focus me in a positive way. But also, when you are dealing with any particular situations in your life that you really are not happy with, you can focus in on that feeling and say those phrases and get really more specific and repeat it over and over again with that feeling, and you'll feel it actually the feelings start to dissipate. And you've released it. It's really a method of helping you release, and you'll just know it because it'll feel better. And the idea behind Ho'oponopono is that everything, positive or negative, are these beliefs, and it keeps you from being in touch with the divine. And so once you're at this zero state, as Joe Vitale calls it, then you are able to be inspired and then take inspired action through communicating with the divine and letting the divine energy come through you. He also uses the term cleaning, and by using Ho'oponopono, he says you're constantly cleaning. I prefer the word releasing. I feel like it's another word for that, just releasing those limiting beliefs, or really any beliefs, because it's positive or negative. So I'll give you an example. This morning, actually, my kids had off today for a holiday, and we were going to go out to lunch, and next to the restaurant we were going to go to, there was a crystal shop, and I wanted to stop in and take a look at the crystals. And my son was really upset about having to go to the crystal shop. He was excited about lunch, but said if we had to go to the crystal shop, he wasn't going to go, and he had an attitude. And I took a moment and I realized that there's something going on within me that was creating the situation. And so I started saying the phrases. But I really was feeling into it. And I think the key here is feeling it and allowing whatever it is come up. And a lot of times for me, if it's something uncomfortable for me, it feels a little like anxiety. I feel a little anxious. And the more I do it, I feel it just lightening up. And it's actually a pretty wonderful process to go through. So I start by saying, I'm sorry. And in this case, I said, I'm sorry for whatever is in me, either subconsciously or consciously within my programming, that is causing this turmoil with my son and feeling like I'm unable to have the freedom I want to go to the store I want to go to. Please forgive me and my son and anybody else who may have played into this programming across all time and space in any lifetimes. Thank you for clearing this from me. I love you. And I said that probably 3 to 4 times, each time feeling the situation that I was going through, feeling whatever it brought up in me, this argument with my son. And when we got to the restaurant, it was amazing. There was little pushback. There was like, okay, we just went. I didn't mention it again, and it just went a lot easier. There are a couple other examples that I found in the last couple weeks when I started practicing this. The first one was I was asked to be on a project at work, and when I signed up for the project, I did not realize it was going to be something that I would have to travel a lot. And I went on one trip and thought it was done, and then recently I was asked to go on about 2 or 3 other trips in the next 2 months, which is pretty difficult for my family life right now. And when I saw the schedule, I was really upset. I couldn't believe that they put me on all these trips in the next 2 months. My kids are in school. We have issues with babysitters and getting people to take care of them before and after work. My husband has a lot on his plate with his job. So I was really upset. So I started this process. I started saying the words in just the way I demonstrated, really bringing up the feelings. And the key here is this doesn't bypass any kind of of the emotional processing that you have to do. You have to feel it in order to release it. And I did this a couple times, and I just, basically, it's a method for giving it to the divine to deal with. And there was a resolution. I was able to make a trip that I could go back to my hometown, which is a lot easier for me to travel to. With my daughter, I could bring her because my daughter's, my in-laws can watch her while I'm doing this particular training at this facility, and they canceled the other trips for me. Another example this week that came up was this other project at work I was asked to do, and it came at a really busy time for me, and I have other projects and have other training I have to do. So I was a little bit startled that I had been put on this other project, considering I am on this other team that I'm supposed to be juggling. So again, I was really upset when I was sent this email of all this extra stuff I had to do, and I started clearing it. I started going through the phrases, but in very much detail. I'm sorry for blah, 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 and just going through the process, doing it multiple times, really feeling into it. And later that day, I got another email saying that they didn't need my help anymore, and I was off the project. It was amazing, actually, pretty amazing. I was really floored at that. And then another example, and this is a pretty small and significant one, is that yesterday the TV wasn't working. My husband wanted to watch a particular football game, and he thought that he was blocked out from the package because we're in the zone, and he couldn't watch it. It wouldn't let him watch it. And so I started cleaning on that, because even though it was his experience, because it was in mine as well, you can release whatever it is. It must be part of what's going on in you. So I started working on that particular situation. And it was absolutely amazing. Within 5 minutes of clearing that, the TV was working. He had his football game. So I was really quite, that was just really cool. So those are 4 examples of how instantly, since I started working through this process and this technique, some things just easily cleared. Now, with larger issues that you're having in your life, I think it's going to take a lot more time. And actually, Joe Vitale, in the second book in the series, it's called At Zero, he talks about when he started practicing Ho'oponopono, the shit started hitting the fan. And that makes sense, because a lot of times things get worse before they get better. And so as you're releasing, more stuff comes up. It's like muddying the water. It needs to like come up, be disturbed, come up and out. But then once you get through it, things are so much smoother. So I'm really enjoying practicing. I'm constantly saying the phrases over and over again with not much feeling, just in my head as I go throughout the day. I'm saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Like, just as I'm going about my day in my head, I'm just repeating these. And I find it just helps me focus. And it's just making my life a lot easier by having those phrases. It works better for me than some of the other affirmations I had been saying. And I feel like this is a really powerful technique to help you release those limiting beliefs. And I think if you put this and use this with other techniques, such as hypnosis, it could be really powerful too. So remember, I do have a free hypnosis that you can use that helps overcome limiting beliefs, and you can get the link to that free download in the comment section. And I would love to hear your practices with Ho'oponopono or experiences that you've had. So I will be sharing a lot more on this topic, because I think this is really a life-changing practice. And I'll let you know how it goes for me. And of course, I'd love to hear from you. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification if you would like to be notified when I post new videos. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.